Welcome to About Mansfield. It's your audio newspaper. I'm Steve Casillo, broadcasting from the Cellmark Studios, along with the About Mansfield news team. Colleen Daniel is on vacation this week. This is the December 18th, 2024, 252nd and final edition of the year. Coming up, it's Mansfield news, talk, and information. A little later in the episode, you'll have a chance to win a $25 gift card to a Mansfield restaurant of your choice with our Mansfield Trivia Question, courtesy of Joe Jenkins Insurance. Let's take a look at the stories we're covering this week. 2 Mansfield officers injured in early morning encounter. North Texas Soccer Club announces move to Mansfield. Mansfield ISD starts construction on $588 million bond projects. Speakers race intensifies in the Texas House. In sports, hoops, and more hoops. And in the talk segment, I will put the year to rest with an in-studio interview with Mansfield City Manager Joe Smolinski. We are Mansfield's only source for news, talk, and information. This is About Mansfield.
Hey there, it's Luke from Cool Hand Electric. Are you tired of dealing with plugs or lights that just won't cooperate? Well, don't fret. Give us a call. Worried about power outages or surges damaging your precious electronics? We've got you covered. Whether it's a whole house generator or surge protection, our solution-oriented Cool Hands are ready to tailor the perfect option that suits your needs and budget. At Cool Hand Electric, excellence is still cool.
Cool Hand, Cool Hand, Cool Hand, where excellence is still cool.
Looking for luxury living with the feel of a resort? Discover Mason & Mill, the newest gem in apartment living. With stunning resort-style amenities, Mason & Mill redefines what it means to call a place home. Ask about our 8 weeks free special. Plus, don't miss out on the $1,000 resident referral program. When you love where you live, it's worth sharing. Managed by Willow Bridge Property Company, locally rooted and nationally respected since 1965. Mason & Mill, we create places you'll want to call home. Log on today at livemasonandmill.com. That's livemasonandmill.com.
Navigating the ever-changing real estate market can be exhausting. At the Hornburg Real Estate Group at One West, our team of experts help make the most of your home selling goals. From the ability to bring buyers multiple cash offers, offer different ways to sell your home, and even offer pay-at-close vendors, we help you get top dollar. We have a robust marketing strategy to ensure you always have options to get your home sold in the way that makes the most sense for you. Each agent at the Hornburg Real Estate Group has been expertly trained and has years of experience behind them. Find out why our clients consistently rate us 5 stars year after year. Call or text us at 817-264-7087. Again, that's 817-264-7087. Or visit us online at homesbyhrg.com.
Hi, I'm Dr. Joseph Adams, and you're listening to About Mansfield.
Welcome back to About Mansfield. This portion of the news is brought to you by the Grandview Event Center in Mansfield. 2 Mansfield police officers were injured early Friday morning during an encounter with a suspect at McClendon Park West. The incident began around 1:20 in the morning when Officer Lemons, on routine patrol, noticed a 2001 Nissan Altima parked long after the 9 p.m. closing. The car was occupied by 2 18-year-olds, the driver, Diego Battle, and the passenger, Brianna Suarez. Officer Lemons approached the vehicle, detected the odor of marijuana, prompting her to request backup. When Officer Jameson arrived, the officers instructed the occupants to exit the vehicle for further investigation. Diego Battle refused, and as Officer Lemons attempted to open the driver's side door, a brief struggle ensued. Battle then put the car in reverse, striking both officers. Officer Lemons was caught by the driver's door and knocked to the ground, while Officer Jameson was able to avoid serious injury. Brianna Suarez exited the vehicle unharmed. After fleeing the scene, Diego Battle was pursued to a residence in Dallas, where he surrendered to police after negotiations. The vehicle was impounded, and Battle was taken into custody without further incident. Officer Lemons was treated at the scene and released, while Officer Jameson sustained minor other injuries. Diego Battle now faces multiple charges, including 2 counts of aggravated assault on a peace officer and evading arrest with a vehicle. Brianna Suarez was released at the scene. North Texas Soccer Club has announced plans to play all home games at the upcoming Mansfield Stadium in the Stable Street Entertainment District beginning in 2026. The announcement marks a new chapter for the reigning 2024 MLS Next Pro champions, which has been based at the Choctaw Stadium in Arlington for the past 5 seasons. Mansfield Stadium will be a 7,500-seat venue owned by the city of Mansfield and will serve as the team's primary home. The stadium will be a part of the 250-acre Stable Street Entertainment District featuring residential, retail, and entertainment spaces, as well as a hotel, conference center, and family attractions. Rev Entertainment and FCD Management, the facility management affiliate of FC Dallas, will oversee the stadium's operations and assist in its design and construction. The club played its inaugural season in 2019 at Toyota Stadium in Frisco before relocating to Choctaw Stadium, where it achieved a record of 35 wins, 8 losses, and 21 draws. For the 2025 season, the team will continue playing at Choctaw Stadium up there in Arlington before transitioning to Mansfield in 2026. So pro soccer fans, you can learn more about the move to Mansfield Stadium by visiting northtexassc.com/Mansfield. Mansfield ISD is making headway on the $588 million bond package approved by the voters back in May of 2024. The district's improvement plans spans 3 phases, with total completion expected in 2029. Phase 1 is earmarked with several high-profile projects, including the renovations of student orchestra halls at 6 middle schools and expanding MISD's orchestra program, a second Early Learners Academy pre-K campus for 700 students planned for October of 2026, and a police and security building. This facility will serve as a security hub and crisis intervention center. Other upgrades include replacing 168 aging school buses, adding new turf and batting cages at high school athletic fields, and installing advanced security cameras such as weapons screeners and multi-lens cameras. Technology improvements like a district-wide fiber ring, LED lighting installations, and upgraded classroom displays are also underway. The bond package was divided into 2 approved propositions covering renovations and technology, while voters rejected 3 other proposals for athletic and fine arts upgrades. For more details, the district's bond website provides updates on ongoing projects. We have a link to that website. You can find it on our website, aboutmansfield.com. Just click on the links tab. State Representative and former Mansfield Mayor David Cook secured the House Republican caucus endorsement last week to become the next Speaker of the GOP-led Texas House. However, the race remains unsettled as rival Republican Representative Dustin Burrows of Lubbock claims to have bipartisan support to win the leadership role. Cook was reelected to his 3rd term and won the caucus vote 48-14. Burrows supporters walked out midway during the vote, citing disagreements. Cook emphasized unity, saying, "This is still a race," and he aims to secure the 76 votes needed when the full House reconvenes on January 14th. Burrows declared at a press conference the Speaker's race is over, asserting he has all the votes. His support includes 38 Republicans and 38 Democrats, though some Democrats dispute their inclusion on his list. Locally, Democratic Representatives Chris Turner and Salman Bajani of Tarrant County, they both back Burrows for his bipartisan approach. Meanwhile, Cook's supporters argue his leadership would benefit North Texas, marking the first Tarrant County Speaker since 1993. A major issue dividing the caucus is the future of Democratic committee chairs, with Cook supporting their removal. Democrats hint that they may abstain from voting if dissatisfied with concessions from GOP leaders. The Speaker's race reflects broader divisions within the Texas House as both parties vie for influence ahead of the 89th legislature. Hoops, hoops, and more hoops. We'll talk about it because sports is next.
Are you ready to create unforgettable memories? Picture this, an enchanting event venue nestled amidst breathtaking landscapes with panoramic views right here in Mansfield. The Grandview Event Center is the perfect setting to bring your vision to life. From intimate gatherings to large-scale extravaganzas, the Grandview has flexible spaces to accommodate any occasion, be it a wedding reception, corporate Christmas party, or community gathering. Book your next unforgettable experience at thegrandviewmansfield.com. That's thegrandviewmansfield.com. The Grandview Event Center, where memories are made and dreams become reality. Book your event today.
Hey, it's Steve Casillo, and are you ready to make your voice heard? Want to bring out your ideas to life through captivating conversations and engaging visuals? Look no further than Podcast Mansfield Recording Studio, your one-stop destination for award-winning audio and video podcast recording. Equipped with cutting-edge microphones, crystal clear audio recording, and high-definition cameras, we're here to turn your ideas into engrossing content. But it's not just about the equipment. We're dedicated to bringing out the best in your content. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, we're here to elevate your podcasting game. We'll even help you with intro music, transitions, voiceover, and that professional polish that sets your podcast apart. So whether you're into interviews, storytelling, or simply sharing your expertise, Podcast Mansfield can help bring your podcasting dreams to life. Visit podcastmansfield.com. Podcast Mansfield, where creating your podcast masterpiece has never been easier.
At Methodist Mansfield Medical Center, we've been caring for our home team for over 15 years. Today, you'll find award-winning physicians on the medical staff, advanced neurosurgery, a Level 3 trauma center, critical care for newborns, and comprehensive orthopedic care. Methodist Mansfield, delivering the care our friends, neighbors, and home team depend on. That's community, and why so many people trust Methodist.
In sports, all eyes are on the Lake Ridge Eagles boys basketball team. As of this recording, the Eagles have posted a 15-1 record in non-district play, having lost their only game by just 1 point. District play starts in a couple of weeks. Also on a winning track are the Summit Jaguars. The Jags have logged an 11-4 record so far in non-district play. Their district play starts this week against Seguin and Centennial. The Timberview boys are also off to an impressive start with a 12-4 record, also again in non-district play. And just like Summit, Timberview starts their district league play this week. Over on the girls' side of the court, despite a 7-8 start with their non-district season, the Timberview Lady Wolves have won their first 2 district league games and are now tied for first, along with the Summit Lady Jaguars. And in case you have forgotten, the Lady Wolves went 40-2 last year with a perfect 16-0 record in district play, making it all the way to the state championship game. But 9 of last year's Lady Wolves have graduated. That's almost 70% of their roster, leaving this year's team with 5 seniors, 2 juniors, 5 sophomores, and 1 freshman. We'll keep an eye on the Lady Wolves as the season progresses. By the way, boys and girls high school soccer starts this week. We'll keep you up to date in the weeks ahead. Here's a programming note. Want you to pay attention to this one. This is pretty important. This is our final episode of the year, as the crew and I will be taking off the next 2 weeks for the holidays. This coming Friday, December 20th, is National Ugly Sweater Day. This is your time to shine or blind. Once ridiculed, these hideous masterpieces are now a global phenomenon. Think sweaters decked out with tinsel, bells, lights, balls, basically wearable Christmas trees. Challenge your friends and family to find the ugliest one, or may the worst one win. This holiday was brilliantly created in 2011 by the Ugly Sweater Lovers organization to bring back the festive spirit with a big splash of hilarity. It's also a great day for charity, as many organizations host ugly sweater contests to raise funds for kids in need. And here's a fun fact. Ugly sweaters were called Jingle Bell sweaters back in the 1980s, featuring reindeer, Santa, and trees. These days, pop culture chaos reigns with Santa on a reindeer bareback, Ben Drankin founding fathers, and toilet paper garlands. So dig through Grandma's closet, raid the thrift store, or DIY do your own masterpiece. Remember, National Ugly Sweater Day, the tackier, the better. So go big, look ridiculous, and don't forget, subtlety is not allowed. Coming up after the break, we turn the page to the features section.
Beating the winter blues, tips for staying bright and happy. I'm Angel Biasatti, and we'll talk about it next. And Methodist Mansfield News to Know.
What's happening in their Mansfield real estate market? What end-of-year things should I be doing as a homeowner? I'm Angela Hornburg, and we'll talk about it in the Mansfield Real Estate Update.
In this week's Cocktail of the Week, we're continuing our jolly journey through the winter wonderland of Christmas cocktails. Today, we're shaking up a drink that's nuttier than your family's annual gift exchange and smoother than Santa's slide down the chimney.
We are Mansfield's only source for news, talk, and information. I'm Steve Casillo, and this is About Mansfield. This portion of the news was brought to you by the Grandview Event Center in Mansfield.
Hey there, it's Luke from Cool Hand Electric. Are you tired of dealing with plugs or lights that just won't cooperate? Well, don't fret. Give us a call. Worried about power outages or surges damaging your precious electronics? We've got you covered. Whether it's a whole house generator or surge protection, our solution-oriented Cool Hands are ready to tailor the perfect option that suits your needs and budget. At Cool Hand Electric, excellence is still cool.
Cool hand, cool hand, cool hand, where excellence is still cool.
Looking for luxury living with the feel of a resort? Discover Mason & Mill, the newest gem in apartment living. With stunning resort-style amenities, Mason & Mill redefines what it means to call a place home. Ask about our 8 weeks free special. Plus, don't miss out on the $1,000 resident referral program. When you love where you live, it's worth sharing. Managed by Willow Bridge Property Company, locally rooted and nationally respected since 1965. Mason & Mill, we create places you'll want to call home. Log on today at livemasonandmill.com. That's livemasonandmill.com.
Congratulations to Carolee Wilson. She's no stranger to our trivia question. She knew that the two rinks at the Mansfield Star Center are named the Hatcher Rink and the Morrow Rink in honor of former Dallas captains Darian Hatcher and Brendan Morrow. When we come back, this week's trivia question. This is About Mansfield.
Hi, this is Joe Jenkins with Joe Jenkins Farmers Insurance, specializing in auto, home, commercial, and life insurance. I was born and raised here in Mansfield, Texas. We're active in the community, and Mansfield's a town we really care about. Our office has over 30 years' experience in the insurance industry, and we're passionate about what we do and about customer service. For a free quote, please visit our website at joejenkinsinsurance.com or give us a call at 817-472-6058. Once again, that website is joejenkinsinsurance.com.
It is time right now for the highly coveted, wildly popular About Mansfield trivia question. If you are the first person to email the correct answer to trivia@aboutmansfield.com, you will receive a $25 gift card to a Mansfield area restaurant of your choice. It's brought to you by Joe Jenkins Insurance. Whether you're looking for homeowners, auto, commercial, or any other type of insurance, Joe has helped Mansfield area residents understand the insurance coverage that best fit their needs since 2010. You can find him on the internet at joejenkinsinsurance.com. This is usually where I toss it to Colleen because it would be her turn. She would say something like this. Well, Steve, this year-ending trivia exercise is quite simple. Be the first to send an email wishing the entire About Mansfield news team a Merry Christmas. And while you're at it, please include a short paragraph on what you like most about the podcast. Send that to trivia@aboutmansfield.com. Again, be the first to send an email wishing the entire About Mansfield news team a Merry Christmas, along with a short paragraph on what you like about the podcast. That's trivia@aboutmansfield.com. Good luck, And thanks to Joe Jenkins Insurance for the gift card.
Hi, I'm Olympia Longjumper, Jacob Fincham Dukes, and you're listening to About Mansfield.
Welcome back to About Mansfield, your audio newspaper. Let's open up the features section. Angela Biasatti has tips on how to stay bright and happy, even with the winter blues knocking on your door. In Methodist Mansfield News to Know. Angel?
Today, I'm excited to share some tips for living a healthy, happy, and balanced life. Today, we're going to talk about something that affects many of us as the colder weather sets in, the winter blues. As the days get shorter and the temperatures drop, it's easy to feel a little down. But don't worry, you're not alone. And there are some simple, effective ways to beat those wintertime blues. In this episode, we'll talk about why this happens and what you can do to stay bright, positive, and energized all winter long. Let's start with a quick overview of what the winter blues are and why they happen. The winter blues, also known as seasonal affective disorder, SAD, is a form of depression that typically strikes during the fall and winter months. It's caused by changes in sunlight exposure, which can disrupt your body's internal clock, leading to the feelings of sadness, fatigue, and a lack of motivation. Now let's go over some effective strategies to help you beat the winter blues and keep your spirits high, no matter how cold it gets outside. Get as much sunlight as you can. One of the main reasons people experience winter blues is because of reduced sunlight exposure. Even on cloudy days, try to get outside for at least 20 to 30 minutes of daylight. Exercise is a powerful tool for boosting mood and fighting off feelings of sadness or fatigue. Regular physical activity increases the release of endorphins, your body's natural feel-good chemicals. Even if it's chilly outside, you can find indoor activities that keep you moving, like yoga, dancing, or even a home workout routine. Stay connected with loved ones. Isolation can make the winter blues worse, so it's important to maintain strong social connections. Maintain a healthy diet. What you eat can directly impact how you feel, especially in the winter months. Eating a balanced diet filled with fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and lean proteins help maintain stable energy levels and promotes a better mood. Create a cozy environment. Your surroundings can have a big impact on your mental health. Make your home a cozy retreat by adding warm lighting, soft blankets, and candles with calming scents. Practice mindfulness and stress relief. The winter months can sometimes bring a sense of stress or overwhelming, especially with the holidays. Get enough sleep. Sleep is so important for maintaining a good mood and overall health. During the winter, shorter days and cooler temperatures might throw off your sleep routine, but it's essential to stay consistent. Remember, you don't have to let the winter season bring you down. By implementing these simple strategies, you can maintain a positive, energized mindset no matter how cold it gets outside. Happy holidays. This is Angel Biasatti reporting for the About Mansfield podcast.
Angela Hornburg is here with a twofer, a market update, and offers some year-end tips to homeowners in the Mansfield Real Estate Update. Angela?
In November, we saw a lot of market movement with increased sales across the board. Existing home sales in Mansfield had an average sales price of $513,000, up 11.5% year over year. The days on market average was 53, which is down from last month, but up 76% year over year. Existing home sales in Mansfield saw 61 closed sales, which is up 22% from last year. Inventory was at 3.6 months supply, which is down from last month, but still up 22% year over year. New construction saw an average sales price of $633,000, which is down slightly year over year at 1.2%. The average days on market was at 125 days, which is up 11.5% year over year. New construction sales closed 34 units, which was up year over year at 36%. The builders held 4.3 months of open inventory, which was down year over year by 6.5%. The increased market movement in November was likely the result of decreased interest rates that we saw in October. The market movement has shown that interest rate movement dictates market movement from buying consumers. There was a lot of uncertainty around the election, as there always is in election years. Now that the election has concluded, it is expected that consumers have an expectation of how the government will handle the economic factors, which should give some consumers confidence in forecasting what they believe to be some certainty and strategy forward. The end of the year is a busy time filled with holiday celebrations and creating memories. It's also a time to be thinking about a few things as it relates to the investment of your home. For folks who own homes that they live in, here are the things you should be doing this time of year. Be sure you've reviewed your tax bill to ensure your amount is correct and that they are paid, either by you or your mortgage escrow account. Now is a good time to set yourself a reminder for February to shop homeowners insurance. If you don't know when your policy ends, I recommend doing this in February to give you time post-holidays, but before the spring to shop rates to be sure you're not overpaying and that you have proper coverage. This is a good time to also be thinking about what home improvements you might want to do next year, and perhaps put your tax return towards it, or ask your favorite realtor what your house is worth to weigh your options against improving or buying something new. For folks who own rental properties, if you haven't stayed organized this year, there's nothing quite like the dread of preparing for your taxes. Here are a few reminders for you too. Now is a good time to gather up any invoices for repairs, maintenance, cleaning, for your tax returns. Be sure you've reviewed and paid your property taxes. This is also a good time of year to determine what capital improvements you might want to do in the coming year and start strategizing that now. If you don't own your own home, what are you waiting for? Your end of year tip is to call me or your favorite agent to get you on the path to purchasing your home in 2025. With plenty of options for houses combined with home buying grants and creative loan programs, there has never been a better time to make the dream a reality. Reporting for the About Mansfield podcast, I am Angela Hornburg, broker with One West Real Estate.
Shaken or stirred, you know it's going to be good as Brian Certain serves up a drink that's nuttier than your family's gift exchange in the cocktail of the week. Brian?
This week's cocktail of the week is the Chestnut Praline Latte Martini. I'm going to say that again because that's a mouthful. Chestnut Praline Latte Martini. It's as if your favorite holiday latte decided to skip out on its shift at the mall Santa photo booth and hit the cocktail lounge instead. This isn't just a drink. It's what happened when baristas and bartenders unite to spread holiday cheer in the booziest way possible. The Chestnut Praline Latte Martini is like your sophisticated, slightly tipsy cousin of your regular coffee shop order. It's proof that chestnuts roasting on an open fire was really just the first draft of a great cocktail recipe. Let's break down what you'll need to create this caffeinated Christmas in a glass. But don't worry about taking notes. I'll always give out the ingredients and instructions and post them on bourbongospel.com. Ingredients: 2 ounces of vodka, 1 ounce of chestnut liqueur, like Frangelico, 1 ounce of praline syrup, 1 ounce of freshly brewed espresso, cooled, a half ounce of heavy cream, ice, and for garnish, whipped cream, crushed pralines, and a sprinkle of nutmeg. To make the homemade praline syrup, you're going to need 1 cup of brown sugar, a half a cup of water, a half a cup of crushed pecans, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Now, let's walk through the winter wonderland of creating this festive libation. If you're making the praline syrup instead of buying one, you're going to combine the brown sugar and the water in a saucepan. Bring it to a boil, then simmer for 5 minutes. Add your pecans and vanilla, simmer for another 5 minutes, strain, and cool. Chill your martini glass. We want this drink frostier than Frosties, well, you know. In a shaker filled with ice, combine the vodka, chestnut liqueur, praline syrup, espresso, and heavy cream. Shake vigorously for about 20 seconds. You want it frothier than Mrs. Claus cappuccino mustache. Then strain into your chilled martini glass. Top with a dollop of whipped cream, a sprinkle of crushed pralines, and a dusting of nutmeg. It should look more indulgent than your treat-yourself Christmas holiday spirit. Now take a minute to inhale the nutty coffee aroma. It's like Christmas morning excitement, but for grown-ups. Now, why is this the perfect addition to our Christmas cocktail collection? Well, first, it captures the essence of season's coziest flavors. The combination of chestnut, pralines, and coffee is like the greatest hits album of holiday taste. The vodka provides a smooth, clean base that lets the festive flavors take center stage, like a diva belting out All I Want for Christmas. The chestnut liqueur brings the nutty richness that'll transport you straight to a crisp winter forest. The praline syrup adds a sweet caramelized note that's more addictive than a Christmas movie marathon. And the espresso, well, it's there to keep you jolly and bright through all those holiday parties. But most importantly, it's a multitasker. Need a pick-me-up to power through gift wrapping? Chestnut praline latte martini. Looking for a dessert drink to impress your in-laws? Chestnut praline latte martini. Need something to help you stay awake for Santa? You guessed it, the chestnut praline latte martini, but don't tell the kids. This drink is more than a beverage, it's a holiday tradition in liquid form. It's like someone distilled the feeling of sitting by a crackling fire, wrapped in a soft blanket while the snow falls gently outside. So there you have it, folks, the chestnut praline latte martini. It's nuttier than a fruitcake, more indulgent than your Secret Santa's wish list, but guaranteed to make your spirits bright. Whether you're using it to kick off your holiday brunch, using it as a nightcap after a long day of Christmas shopping, or as liquid courage before facing the mall crowds, this cocktail has you covered. Whip this up for your holiday gathering and watch as your guests forget all about their pumpkin spice lattes. It's the perfect way to toast to good cheer, good company, and the magic of the season. Next week, I'll be shaking up the final Christmas favorites, so make sure to tune in. Until then, remember, in cocktails as in Christmas miracles, it's important to believe. As always, I'm open to hear and you're taking your input. You can reach me at brian@bourbongospel.com. And until next week, as Mark Twain said, too much of anything is bad, but too much whiskey is barely enough. Reporting for the About Mansfield podcast, I'm Brian Certain. And when I checked my ID, you're still not.
Thank you, Brian. While you're here, what do you have planned for 2025?
We're shaking things up on the About Mansfield podcast with our exciting new theme, New Year, New Sips, Innovative and Trendy Cocktails for 2025. This January, we're leaving out the familiar comfort of classic recipes and venturing into uncharted mixology territory. We're going to be exploring cutting-edge techniques, unexpected flavor combinations, and the latest trends that are set to define the cocktail culture in 2025.
We're back in 60 seconds with an in-studio interview with Mansfield City Manager Joe Smolinski. Stay with us.
Imagine a city where innovation knows no bounds, where dreams take flight, and the future unfolds before your very eyes. Welcome to Mansfield, a beacon of growth and a testament to vision. In the heart of Mansfield, a remarkable transformation is underway. But it's not just about the physical landscape. It's about the spirit that drives us forward. A spirit of collaboration that bridges cultures, a spirit of entrepreneurship that fuels prosperity, and a spirit of community that binds us as one. Mansfield is more than just a place. It's a canvas where diversity paints the picture of progress. From art festivals that ignite creativity to tech hubs that redefine boundaries, this city celebrates every voice, every passion. Mansfield, where growth knows no limits and the vision is limitless. Brought to you by the unstoppable spirit of the Mansfield Economic Development Corporation.
Hi, I'm Casey Lewis, and you're listening to About Mansfield.
Welcome back to another segment of About Mansfield. I'm Steve Casillo as we make the transition from news to talk. And 'tis the season to put things to rest. And what I mean by that is this is our final episode of the year. We're going to put 2024 to rest. And a note to the listeners, we will be taking the next 2 weeks off for Christmas and for New Year's. We'll see you on the other side. This is also the year to put things to rest in terms of what's going on in the community. And I'm going to take you back to the days of Socrates. Socrates coined a word that is still used today. In some ways, it's a derogatory word. It could be used in a derogatory way. The word is called gadfly, and it was coined by Socrates. Nowadays, if you were to look it up, the definition is one who tries to upset the norm, usually by complaining. Now, and it's not a bad thing to upset the norm, but maybe by doing things as opposed to complaining might be the way to go about doing it. There have been some issues come up on social media. And again, because this is the time to put things to rest, let's put them to rest. In the studio today, the city manager of Mansfield, Joe Smolinski. Welcome back to About Mansfield.
Thank you for having me, Steve. I appreciate the opportunity to put some of this stuff to bed.
We've got a laundry list of things to talk about, and we'll just keep rolling until we get through the entire list. One of the things that has popped up on social media is the hiring of Casey Lewis. From what I've read, this has been the hiring of a consulting company that is owned by Casey Lewis.
That is completely correct. Casey Lewis Companies. The city contracted with Casey Lewis Companies in June of 2024. So Casey Lewis is not an employee of the city, is not a full-time employee, not even a part-time employee, receives no benefits, no appointed position, none of that stuff.
At the end of the year, receives a 1099. And
that is correct.
Okay. Is it normal? Is it a standard procedure to offer an office space to a consultant?
No, it's not standard, but it's not unheard of. In fact, we've got another consultant, Biasatti, that is occupying some space in City Hall right now. The only reason to do that is if you work really, really close with them on complex projects, and that is absolutely what's happening, both with Casey Lewis Companies and with Biasatti. So, it's not all that common, but it's not unheard of, and it's in fact something we're doing with another consultant as well.
And I would assume the car allowance kind of goes in line with if the consultant were coming in from out of town, you would offer them a rental car.
It's just, yeah, exactly. It's just worded in such a way that it appears as a car allowance. But in almost every contract that we have with a consultant, it talks specifically about travel time, reimbursing for travel time, and all of that kind of stuff. So, yeah, it's just a different way of looking at it, but I can see the confusion that people might have about it.
And this, again, having read things on the internet, the salary or the money that he's being paid was not in the budget. Is it common? Is it normal that you create a new position, hire a consultant without it being in the budget? Is it necessary for it to be in the budget?
Well, it was in the budget. It might not have been called out specifically as Casey Lewis Companies, but we had money that the council approved as part of the adoption of the 2023-2024 fiscal year budget that had money in contractual services, and that's exactly where he's being paid from.
Okay. Should we move on to the next one?
Absolutely.
You have a stadium that's being built. In fact, I just noticed a couple of days ago that a pro soccer team is coming to the stadium, the North Texas Soccer Club. And first of all, congratulations on securing. Well, I guess FC Dallas maybe secured that.
They did. You may have seen that press release on Wednesday.
I did.
You know, we've got the North Texas Soccer Club, which is owned and operated by FC Dallas. They'll be calling Mansfield home in 2026. So we're really excited about them. They won the Next Pro Cup this year, went undefeated at home. So we're hoping that they'll bring some of that national championship juju back to Mansfield.
There you go.
Yeah, we're looking forward to having them.
And they'll be playing at the stadium that by the Mansfield Sports Park, the High Five, the stadium. Should the stadium have been put to a vote to the voters?
So here's the misconception. The misconception is that it wasn't put to the voters, when quite the opposite. There were two ballot propositions that appeared on the ballot back in May. City Council had two props. The first one said do the citizens authorize the council and the city to use sales tax dollars that are typically dedicated toward the recruitment and retention of logistics, warehouse, industrial manufacturing, stuff like that? Can we use that for a broader purpose? And the voters overwhelmingly said yes to that. The second proposition said, can we use those sales tax dollars for a multi-purpose mixed-use stadium? And the voters said yes to that as well. So it's a misconception that it didn't go before the voters. We asked the citizens specifically if we could use sales tax dollars in that way. We asked them specifically if we could build the stadium, and they said yes to both of those.
Yeah.
So we're excited to do this. We think it's going to be a great project for the city of Mansfield, and we think that it's a real catalyst project for the mixed-use development going in just east of 360 at Lone Star.
And this also went through the Attorney General?
Of course it did. So not only did it go through our deputy city attorney, who's also our assistant city manager, it went through our city attorney. It also went through bond counsel, another attorney, and then, of course, all those get sent over to the Attorney General for approval. So, yes, it's all been buttoned up through all the legal channels, and everyone said we're good to go.
So, Joe, it's on the up and up.
Yes, Steve. It's on the up and up. The stadium that we've designed and I think is expected of a pro soccer level, a pro team level, is the stadium that we've designed. And of course, when you say $68 million, we'll be looking for savings during construction, just as we do with any project. But no, I think the product that we intend to deliver to the Mansfield residents is one that they'll love. It's one the team will love, and I think it's one that will serve as a catalyst project for that development.
Why is Mansfield building a new city hall?
Well, I think a couple of reasons. One, I'll say the city staff has certainly outgrown the facility. You know, for several years now, we've been subdividing conference rooms. We've been making new spaces out of open area, all of that kind of stuff. In some cases, we even have staff members that are doubled up in offices. And it's time to expand or relocate. One of those two things had to happen. The second thing I would say is if you went to Hometown Holidays this year, you've seen for yourself that the community has outgrown that space as well.
Right.
You know, we had thousands and thousands of people show up at Hometown Holidays this year, which was held at City Hall. And quite frankly, we don't have the room to get them in and out. We don't have the room to have the sort of celebration that I think Mansfield residents have come to know and expect.
So the new City Hall will be located where?
In what we refer to as the Reserve.
Yeah.
It'll be at the intersection of Regency Parkway and Heritage Parkway. Pretty close to you, right?
I was going to say just over the bridge from where we are right now.
That's correct. Yes.
Describe what's going to be around City Hall, what the voters, what the residents are getting for their tax dollars.
Well, really, City Hall, like I said, the community's outgrown the space as well. I think the stuff that's around City Hall is the real selling point for why we've done it and what the citizens will see when they come to it. Everyone's familiar with something like a South Lake Town Square, something like that. Think of this as a mix between South Lake Town Square and the Riverwalk in San Antonio. A lot more to do there. But yeah, we'll have a system of canals about a half mile in length. It'll be circular.
Yeah.
And that will empty out into a bay and then into a large pond with a very significant event space right out in front of City Hall facing the canal system. This is where we anticipate doing stuff like Hometown Holidays. You can do parades within this development, all that sort of stuff. Places where the community will come and make memories. The town square, town center aspect of it is really about the community, not about offices at City Hall.
South Lake has retail based around City Hall. Their City Hall is that the intent as well here in Mansfield?
Correct. The intent is to have a very significant retail restaurant presence in and around the canals.
A place to gather around City Hall.
A place where we can be together as one.
All right. Why are we moving Fire Station number 1, which appears to be, at least the facade, to be a fairly new fire station? Why are we moving it to Walnut Creek?
Two primary reasons. I think, as as demographics shift over time, people move into one area of town, move out of another, there's new development that pops up. One of the reasons we're moving the fire station has to do specifically with response times, making sure that we're in a location where we can adequately reach all areas of town. Anytime you're talking about a medical emergency, seconds matter. Our fire chief and our EMS staff all know that very well. They're 100% committed to taking care of our residents. So that's one reason to do it. The second one is if we can move Fire Station 1 off of Main Street, that land can be used for higher and better use. Something, we've got a project coming in called the Watermill District. You may have seen that as well. Significant office, retail, restaurant presence, a small amount of residential as well. But I think this is going to be a real gathering space for the community as well. You're noticing a few trends here where we're talking about gathering spaces for the community. It's all about making sure that our residents have the amenities that they expect in a town like Mansfield.
And the current fire station doesn't seem to be in a very good spot during a parade.
100% accurate on that. Yeah. So, what we find ourselves doing is shutting down Main Street a lot for we've got one of the best events in the entire state of Texas, the Pickle Parade.
Yep.
All right, Pickle Parade in Palooza, where we shut down all of Main Street. We've done it for the Veterans Parade. We've done it for hometown holidays before, all these sort of things. But anytime you do that, you also have to shut down access to the fire station or find an alternate location, an alternate route to get to it.
So usually during a parade, don't the fire trucks relocate themselves to another part of the city in case of a call?
Correct.
Yeah, you're basically shutting down the station.
You're shutting down the station for all intents and purposes.
Okay, so a new fire station at East Broad and Walnut Creek, you're not going to have to shut it down.
Correct. That's the plan.
There you go. Fire station number 1. And will it still be number 1?
It will still be number 1.
It's number 1. Julian Field improvements and the Veterans Memorial. Now, if I recall, the proposition did not pass. And so this has been coming up on social media that the city's going forward with it anyways, even though it didn't pass.
And this criticism is justified.
Okay,
right? At least on its face.
Mm-hmm.
It is a fact that the Veterans Memorial went before the voters. What went before the voters was a ballot proposition that said, can we build all 3 phases of the Veterans Memorial at one time, and will you agree to an additional tax pledge? So can we raise your taxes to do it?
Yeah.
And by a narrow margin, that did fail. Now, what state law says is if that fails, you cannot just go and issue certificates of obligation for it without going to the voters. You can't issue certificates of obligation for that for 36 months. So we have not done that. What state law does allow you to do is if you can find an alternate funding source that does not increase the property tax, because that's what you asked voters for,
right?
Then yes, you can still deliver that project. So what we did is we changed the boundary of the tax increment reinvestment zone number 1, which covers all of the reserve.
The TERS.
Mm-hmm. Correct. And you hear people talk about TERS. So for whatever that means, it's the tax increment reinvestment zone. And there's cash inside of that TERS. Means that the revenue generated, the new increment generated, tax increment generated within the boundaries of the TERS exceeds the project costs that we've experienced to date. So there's cash available there. We're going to pay for that project out of cash instead of issuing certificates of obligation. There will be no tax increase associated with that in any way. So, and the project is somewhat scaled down from what its original intent was anyway. We're going to do the first phase and a half almost, instead of doing all 3 phases at one time.
How will the memorial interrupt any of the play going on in the playground? I'm not sure about the layout. I have yet to see the layout of the Veterans Memorial.
It will evolve. That playground will go away. but the Serenity Gardens will stay. Think of this as a veterans memorial with the true intent that people can go there and reflect on the memory of their loved ones
Sure.
and celebrate the armed services of the United States of America.
Geyer Commons.
This is one of my favorite projects that I've gotten a chance to work on.
You just broke ground on it last week.
Just broke ground on it. That's
and
right.
This was part of a controversial, if you will, land swap with the Mansfield ISD. And how did that land swap come about?
So the controversy, I don't believe is over Geyer Commons in any way, shape, or form. I think it's specifically over the land swap.
Yeah.
As we've just talked about, we're moving City Hall over to the reserve. And one of the questions that you would have to naturally ask yourself is, what are you going to do with the old City Hall? So what you'll see is the MISD administration offices will all be consolidated, and they'll move into City Hall. So this will stay a civic facility. City Hall will remain a civic facility.
Yeah.
It'll just be MISD admin staff that's there instead of city staff.
Because MISD is split between the Performing Arts Center and where the Rock Gym is at Walnut Creek. They're split, are they not?
That's my understanding. The admin offices are essentially split up into 3, 4, or even 5 different campuses, different buildings at the very least. And this will give them a chance to really meet their growth needs for the future. When they come over to City Hall, they'll all be able to be under one roof, which I know really benefits the flow of operations and efficiencies and stuff like that. So, yeah, we're going to swap that land with them. The land swap was for the Mansfield High School, the historic high school,
right? The
Rock Gym, Geyer Field, and then the shopping center that's directly across the street from those admin offices. You know, it's where Sonic and all that
right,
stuff
the Mansfield
is.
Mission Center, thrift store. And what's going to happen with that shopping center?
We're not positive yet. Right now it has tenants. We have to see those leases all the way out. But the facility itself is in need of some significant renovations and or reconstruction.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens with that. Not quite sure just yet, but you can look for redevelopment to occur there.
Is the Rock Gym going to stay? And what's going to happen around Geyer Commons?
One of the stipulations in the land swap that the city or that the school district placed on the city, and we agreed to this wholeheartedly. We think it's a great idea.
Yeah,
is to preserve the historic high school and the Rock Gym. And we think those are going to play right into the main purpose of Geyer Commons in the first place, which is a gathering space for the community, but it also pays homage to Mansfield's founders and its history.
Yeah.
What I mean by that is there are going to be several structures either relocated or reconstructed there on Geyer Commons that have historic value to the citizens of Mansfield. One such building is Julian Field's home, his original home here in Mansfield. It no longer exists, so that'll be recreated. The first church in Mansfield, the Presbyterian Church, we're going to reconstruct that out there. I think everyone's familiar with, I hope everyone's familiar with the Citizens Bank that used to be out in Britain.
That's before my time. I'm not from around here. So
okay, so story goes, right?
Yeah.
Story goes that the Citizens Bank that was once out there was it was famous because it was not robbed by Bonnie and Clyde.
Huh.
Right. Now, I wasn't robbed by Bonnie or Clyde either, but I'm not famous. But the bank itself was apparently down the street from an ice cream joint that they liked to frequent, so they didn't rob it. So rumor has it that that's why it was famous in the history books. But
so Bonnie and Clyde used to hang around this area.
Rumor has it.
Rumor has it.
Rumor has it.
Okay. You're also moving some buildings over. Is that correct? Some historic homes over to Geyer Commons?
Correct. Like I said, Julian Field's home, we'll move that over. There's the house that's right next to Fire Station number 1 in downtown Mansfield. That will be relocated to Geyer Commons. That's got a historical marker on it. We will also, what are some of the other buildings we're doing out there? The original co-ed college, which is part of Blessing's funeral home.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're not going to give us that building.
You're going to have to recreate it?
We're going to have to recreate it, but it's going out there. So think of it as sort of a Founders Row. If you're familiar with Founders Row in Midlothian,
right.
Much the same. Those buildings will be occupied by commercial establishments. But some of the other things you can look to see out at Geyer Commons is going to be hopefully the final or the permanent location of the Mansfield Farmers Market. There'll be a significant Makers Mart out there, splash pad, synthetic field, wiffle ball.
Wiffle ball.
That's correct.
Nice.
Yeah, just like you'd see out in Waco at Magnolia.
Okay, so what I'm sensing here is that between the stadium, the new city hall, Geyer Commons, downtown, you're creating places to gather for the citizens of Mansfield.
That's correct. You know, for the last several years, on every even number year, City Council does a citizen satisfaction survey that goes out, and they ask our residents stuff like, "What are some of the things you'd like to see? What are some of the things that really get under your skin?" And I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, but traffic.
Yeah, spend as much time as you want.
Is always number one on that list. But some of the things that they really pointed out is they want somewhere where families can go, family entertainment. Gathering spaces where teens can gather and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I think all of these places that we've been talking about, this laundry list of shared community spaces, are really meeting the expectation of our public.
When will the redevelopment of downtown start?
We're in design right now, so I anticipate design itself taking a little more than a year.
Okay.
So once we get a little farther into design, we'll be able to narrow down that answer for you. But look for ideally sometime in 2026 is when we'd get started on that project. Okay. Now, I can't say whether that's going to be mid or end of year, but sometime in 2026.
And a roundabout traffic circle is coming to
that was the original plan, Steve, but what ended up happening is the council took another look at it. They heard what people were saying online, and I think they responded to those comments, and that will be a regular traffic light. It's not going to be a roundabout.
So the power of social media worked. The
power of social media was at play in that.
I envisioned a traffic circle with maybe a monument, maybe a statue in the middle of it of your favorite talk show host or someone else. But
that was the original plan.
The original intent. All right. Coming to Mansfield because of the passing of a proposition. This was a pretty big deal. Proposition A, the passing of package stores where people can go in and purchase retail alcohol and bring it home to do whatever they do with cooking sherry or what have you not. This is a big deal to Mansfield.
It is. So this was a voter or resident-initiated ballot proposition. So it was a petition. They got started, went out, and they got all of the signatures they needed to have council put that on the ballot in this past November. And that passed overwhelmingly.
Yeah.
And what the proposition was, it was for to legalize the legalized package sales of alcohol. So think something like Total Wine or something like that.
Yeah.
Previously, we've had beer and wine sales. Our restaurants and grocery stores all serve beer and wine. But prior to November, we were not allowed to have package sales in Mansfield.
Will grocery stores be able to sell alcohol, or what are some of the restrictions that the city is putting in place?
So prior to the passage of this proposition, City Council was pretty proactive in going in and putting in a couple of stipulations with regard to the sale of alcohol. No, every grocery store will not be able to sell liquor.
Okay.
Ideally, what will happen is that will be reserved for larger businesses like Total Wine, something like that. You can't restrict it to a specific business, but what you can do is say, what are some reasonable regulations we can put in place that prevent stuff that I don't think the voters intended as a consequence either way. I do not believe they wanted to see liquor stores pop up on every corner.
Right.
So, the challenge for us over the next couple of years is going to be making sure that doesn't happen, that there's a clear and orderly development that's occurring within our city, and that the location of these new businesses makes sense with regard to placement in the community.
So for instance, maybe a minimum amount of square footage, or that I would assume the TABC restricts people or businesses within a certain amount of space between a church or a school. Is that a TABC thing?
That is a statute that exists. So right now, cities have the option to restrict the distance or put limitations or minimum distances from where you can sell beer and alcohol, beer and wine, stuff like that. Schools and churches are the two that we really think about there when we say you got to be a certain distance away from a church, you got to be a certain distance away from a school. So, that's already governed elsewhere. What the city council's trying to do, I think, is make sure that there's minimum square footage, say 25,000 square feet is what the code says right now.
Right.
So we're trying to discourage when possible, when legal, trying to discourage the placement of small liquor stores in the community.
I think we've done the whole list.
Have we? All right. Well,
is there anything on your list that you were anticipating?
No, you covered everything that I thought you were going to cover, and then a couple of others. So I appreciate the time. I appreciate you giving me an opportunity to come here and answer some tough questions.
We put everything to rest.
Yeah, you were very polite in the way you asked them, but those are some tough questions in the community.
I'm inviting you into my home. I mean, literally, I spend more time in this studio than I do at home during my waking hours. And it's my job to ask the tough questions, but it's also my job to be the host. I hope I didn't make you squirm too much.
Not at all. I appreciate your time today. Thank you very much.
Joe, thank you. And Merry Christmas, not only to the Smolinski family, Merry Christmas to the City of Mansfield family that I know that you consider your family. And I appreciate you putting everything to rest for 2024, and we'll see you in 2025.
Merry Christmas.
Coming up next week on About Mansfield, we're off for the holidays. Our next episode will be released on Wednesday, January 8th. On behalf of the entire About Mansfield news team, the happiest of holidays to you and yours, and we'll see you in 2025. In the meantime, this is the place where you will hear the latest Mansfield news, talk, and information. Until then, don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, engage, connect, amplify, elevate, celebrate, embrace, and explore, share, love, or support this podcast if you haven't already, so you never miss an episode. It's free and it's easy. Head on over to our website, aboutmansfield.com. Enter your email address right there on the homepage. We will never send you any spam. We promise. Hey, Colleen, I know you're on vacation, but how about a little help with the credits?
About Mansfield is recorded at Podcast Mansfield Recording Studio. Hosts Steve Casillo and Colleen Daniel. Moment with the Mayor feature, Michael Evans. Methodist Mansfield News to Know, Angel Biasatti. Mansfield Real Estate Market Update, Angela Hornburg. Cultural Arts Calendar, Tim Roberts. Cocktail of the Week, Brian Certain. Post-production editing, mixing, and mastering, Steve Casillo and Andrew Miner.
This podcast is copyrighted by Podcast Mansfield Recording Studio for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this podcast without written consent is prohibited. We thank y'all for listening. On behalf of the entire news team, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Holidays. I'm Steve Casillo, and this is About Mansfield.